All right, welcome in everybody. My name's Bryant, and this is I Have Comic Issues, and this is the Comic Channel Origins. And my guest today is Jason, the Archivist Adrift. And let me go ahead and bring Jason in here. He is waiting patiently backstage, and here he is.
Hey, hi there, Bryant.
How are you today?
Terrific. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I really love the concept of this show. It's really unique and fresh, and yeah, really cool stuff.
No, thank you. I was trying to come up with a different aspect. I mean, everybody shows off books and stuff like that, so
that's a great idea.
I like that part of. I love comic books. I like that part of YouTube is showing off the books, but I also want to learn about how to be a better YouTuber.
We all do. Yeah.
So if we can all share tips and tricks and best practices, I think that could help everybody in general.
Yeah.
We already got a couple of people that have said hello. We got Wellbore.
Hey, Wellbore.
And then JSS Brooklyn, the moderator extraordinaire.
Yeah, he's great.
Why watch the Oscars when we can watch this? I agree. I do have a couple of questions from Cliff on comics. And he had a couple of restoration questions that I was going to ask you first before we got into the YouTube stuff. So
yeah,
let me just go ahead and ask those. His first question is, what was the first comic history rabbit hole you fell down that made you realize how deep the hobby really goes?
Oh, comic history?
Yes.
Man, probably when I started getting into Golden Age in general, but through Jerry the Jitterbugs channel, and but more specifically a label or a publisher called Nidor, and they were a kind of a one of the big ones in the 40s. And when I was just drawn to the characters because they were drawn so well, and I quickly realized like I needed to know everything I could about this comic group, and so
I've never even heard of that publisher.
They're great. Their big character was the Black Terror, and he's got this big skull in the middle of his chest, very kind of a precursor to the Punisher in look, but he was more like a Superman type character. And they had a whole lineup, just like Marvel and Timely and DC and all that.
And did anybody buy those properties?
No. So they pretty much went bankrupt probably in the early 50s, like a lot of those publishers did. But when they hit the public domain, a lot of those characters were revived by different writers and artists. So in the 80s, Chuck Dixon had a Black Terror series. And then in the 90s, late 90s, I want to say, or early 2000s, Alan Moore did something with them in his Tom Strong series, comic series, and then probably mid 2000s, Alex Ross did some work with that whole group in his Project Superpowers series, Dynamite, but they pop up in all those Nidor characters. They continuously pop up. There's a lot of indie books that are appearing with Black Terror in it. So yeah, that's definitely my rabbit hole.
Okay. So are those particular characters that say anybody could do a Kickstarter and
yeah. So I mean, the weird thing is that with a lot of these public domain characters, people are not 100% certain who owns what, still. But so far so good. People are doing a lot of Kickstarters with those characters and having no issues with them. So yeah.
All right. JSS has a quick question for you. Can you press foils, and can you press signed books? Small question, but people don't know for modern books.
Signed books, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. But foil, man, that's a really good question. I don't really know. Probably, I imagine not. I mean, I wouldn't. But because I don't really hit too many moderns. Mostly the books I've worked on have been golden, a few silver, a few bronze, But I feel my comfort zone is the Golden Age era. Modern books, the quality of the paper changes pretty drastically. In some ways it's better, in some ways it's harder to work with. I did a couple of recent videos where I was working on some books, G.I. Joe 1 from 1980, 86 or 80, no, probably 80,
Right.
something like that, for Impress Comics.
Okay.
He had some, he is a phenomenal presser himself, but he had some water staining going on with these books that he just couldn't really take care of, and wanted to see if I could, do anything with them. And I was actually, seeing some success with them, but I took them too far. And there's, if you watch the video, I hit them with a little bit too much blue light, and it completely faded the cover of one of them. So it was kind of unfortunately, he didn't pay a whole lot for them, but it was a bit of a test trial for me, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Then he also JSS posted the link in the chat for Black Terror.
Oh, awesome! Thank you, John.
Cliff had another question and this is for viewers who have never seen restoration done properly. What actually counts as comic restoration versus simple conservation?
Okay, yeah, that's good. Great question. So restoration is when you're more concerned with the aesthetics than you are of the structural support of the book. So conservation is restoration is essentially trying to get the aesthetic of the book back to its original state, and that often uses processes that are irreversible. So when we're talking about markers or pen or inks or whether it's tape or glue or all those kind of processes that are very hard to reverse. Conservation, on the other hand, is less about the aesthetic. I mean, if we can get a good aesthetic through conservation, all the better. That's the cherry on top. But first and foremost is making the book readable again. So bringing it back to a state of, a solid structure where you can leaf through the book and not feel like it's going to fall apart on you. And sometimes there's crossover. Sometimes restorers were doing conservation, and sometimes conservators will kind of move or shift into a little bit of restoration stuff. But there's sometimes a fine line, but they usually stay in their lanes.
Okay. Then we have some Jack.
Yeah,
good evening. Is this the AA chat group? Archivist Adrift.
Yeah, my name is Archivist Adrift. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Archivist. And then JSS put Impress's link in there, and then JSS replying to Jack. Cliff had a couple other questions. What is the worst restoration job you've ever seen someone attempt?
Okay. So, I mean, that's kind of a long story, but there is a hero. Have you heard of the hero restoration debacle that happened, I think, last year, essentially?
No.
No. Okay. So, there was this restorer who was fairly popular. I mean, he was considered one of the bigger restorers out there, and he was taking on massive books, like early Action Comics and early, he was taking on like early Spider-Man issues, Spider-Man 1 and things like that, or Amazing Fantasy 15, things like that. And he was holding on to these books for, in some cases, up to I think 12 years. And people would be calling him and where's my book? I want my book back. And he'd be like, oh, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Come to find out, he, at the end here, he was selling them on eBay. In some cases. In other cases, he had started restoration, realized he was way in over his head, and either was sending him to actual, good restorers or conservers, and who was doing the work for him, or he was completely annihilating these poor books. So people like Kenny Sanderson and Phil at what's his Phantom Restoration. He was taking a lot of his books on. So what he ended up getting arrested. He's in jail now. He ended up stealing something like $300,000 worth of comic books.
Oh wow!
Actually, more than that, I think probably, but that's what he was charged with. And so yeah, that landed him in jail. But all these books started kind of going into these hands of actual professionals. And Kenny Sanderson has on his Instagram some examples of some of the conditions of these books. So I think there's like a maybe like a Superman 2 or something like that, where the color is stripped completely out of the book. I don't know if he was just holding them under blue light the whole entire time, or if an aqueous bath got away from him or what, but these books were tattered. They were in complete pieces. So yeah, that's one of the biggest ones. And there is a really great YouTuber, Robert Emmons. He's got a channel called Sequential Artifacts, and he's a documentarian. And we've been kind of talking about, there you go.
Okay, thank you, JSS.
We've been discussing perhaps making working on some sort of like short documentary of some sort on this whole subject, because it's just a fascinating kind of story. So, yeah.
I think I had heard something about this.
Yeah, I think it may have been on like Comic Tom. I mentioned it because Comic Tom actually had him on a few times.
Okay.
A few other big Jim Mint, I think, had him on his show once or twice. So he was well known in the community, and so when all this kind of unraveled, it was a big deal.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
JSS also asked, "Are Brittle Pages recoverable?"
I think so. I've worked on, so I have a book that I worked on that was completely, literally falling apart to the touch. It was scary to just handle it at all. It was just snapping off everywhere, you know. And through a process using some chemicals, one called betaine and some glycerin, and some other processes I worked with, and then a little bit of leaf casting, which is where you kind of reapply pulp to the paper. I was able to bring back the vitality of the pages to the point where I could leaf through it and had no problem flipping through it. In fact, I have it back here. I can grab it if you want me to.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. No. Yeah, here we go. So it's this issue of Startling Comics. It came out, I think, in probably 45, 44. It's a World War II era book. And this thing literally was completely falling apart. If you look at the spine here, it had no spine. The spine was actually gone. So I was able to leaf cast a new spine in, and then the pages were, if I were to do this, it would just crack into pieces. So yeah, I was able to bring back the non-brittleness to the pages, you know. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah. Oops.
And are all the, is that like, were the corners torn and all that?
Yeah, all this was you know, what you see, that where there's no paper there, that's all that was. That's all there was to this cover. Like that, there was no unified cover. It was a front cover, a back cover, and then every page was split. So the interiors here, every single page was split.
And you have all the wraps in the right order.
Yeah, this time I do. Yeah,
I did watch one of your videos about it came back with the wraps in the wrong order.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
But, yeah. So I do have a video on this, and this was a major challenge. A conservator, Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics.
Okay.
He found this book at a convention. And he was like, you know, I know that Jason's into, oh, this is one of the Nidor comics, by the way.
Okay.
And this is a character named Pyro Man. Oddly enough, he doesn't have fire powers. He's got electrical powers, but this is the 40s. Maybe the idea was novel, I think.
Right.
But he knew I was into Nidor, and on my behalf was able to work out a deal with the dealer to if I featured it on my channel, maybe I could get a price reduction. He was able to do that for me. So cool. But then I felt kind of obliged to okay, I gotta get this book, a video on it, and all together. I kind of cut my teeth on learning leaf casting doing this book, and it was just kind of like jumping into the deep end. And again, leaf casting, to kind of explain what that is a little bit. So where there's no paper here, you kind of have to rebuild the paper.
Right.
And so what you do is you take like cotton linters and other types of paper. You throw it into a blender and you kind of make a pulp slurry out of it. And then you there's a number of different processes of how you apply it to the paper, but then you apply it to the paper, filling in all the voids to essentially make something that's that
solid.
Yeah, solid, exactly.
Okay. Jeff also asked, in staple replacement, does it matter what kind of staple, and is it considered restoration?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because it seems the sand on that's shifting a little bit now. Matt Nelson, the president of CGC, he was on Dr. Paul's channel recently on Liberty Hill Comics a couple of last weekend, I think, and
okay.
And we asked him about that, and so the rule between conservators was essentially if you could find similar era staples to replace the existing staples, could you fool CGC and get them to believe that these are legit, belonging to the book? And he, without confirming, kind of confirmed that yes, that's something that you can get away with and keep the book universal. But there are tells to know whether or not staples have been removed or replaced or whatnot. And often that's where the staples kind of go into the paper. There's what do they call that? There's a name for it. It escapes me right now, but you'll see these little indentations where the staples sat, and if they are kind of in the wrong place, that's sometimes a tell.
Okay.
But I've actually worked on a couple of books so far. One from the Golden Age, and one from, it wasn't our Golden Age, it was a Brazilian Golden Age. It was a Brazilian book, and where I replaced staples, and they didn't say anything about them at all. So you can definitely replace staples. Yeah.
So JSS, I think you can still get a blue label if replacing staples.
It's possible. I believe so.
It's possible. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Otako Mike, he was. Yeah, this is in reference to the story about the guy that has gone to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is fascinating. I a couple of weeks ago, I had read there was a number of CGC forum threads where all this was going down, where people were like realizing like, oh, you haven't gotten your books back either, and you haven't, and there's like a couple of mega threads on that on the CGC forum, and I spent like a week kind of just absorbing all of it, because it's every little rabbit trail you get to, it's like a new little twist of the story, and very fascinating stuff.
All right, another question. What is the biggest mistake collectors make when trying to store their comics long term?
Well, of course, you want to keep your books in a dry place. You don't want mold to get attracted to your books. I think most people do a pretty decent job since probably the 80s of storing their books properly. So I don't think that's really much of an issue anymore. Most of the books that I work on were handled by people who never thought that they were going to be worth anything. So the books I work on are stacked wrong, or not. They were never put into any kind of any kind of protection or anything like that. Okay. Yeah.
So on the I guess the restoration, that is this like a side hustle that you do, or is it?
Yeah, I'm not really. I've gotten a lot of people asking if I will take on work, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. I feel like I'm still in the learning process. I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, maybe two, and um, but I've got so much to learn, and
Okay.
every video I feel like I'm learning something new, and I feel like I'm doing good work. But it's one thing when it's your books, and it's another thing when it's somebody else's book and they're paying you to do their work, their
Yeah.
books. And so the books I have worked on for others have mostly been YouTubers or friends, close friends of the channel, uh, with with the understanding of, hey, just so you realize, I'm not a professional. I'm not getting paid. I don't need to get paid for this. I'm just doing it to help you out, and you know, you're taking on a little bit of a risk when you're working with me, kind of thing. But
Read the
and
disclaimer, right?
right, exactly. And they all understand, and they've been very good about that, and very kind about it too. So and they've been without me asking at all. They've been, every now and then they'll chuck in something, a book or something like that, which is very, very kind of them. I don't know about that, John. I got a long ways to go. I talked to Kenny a little bit today. Kenny Sanderson is the top of the top of comic book conservators.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he doesn't have a YouTube channel. He only has an Instagram channel, but he's been doing it since the late '80s, and he has a lot of very well kept, not, I don't want to say secrets, but proprietary methods. That a lot of us in the conservation community are kind of experimenting with and trying to get close to what he's doing, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay. Jeff, got a long one.
Yeah, mostly see C-level restoration on CGC slab labels, not A or B. It seems that it would be difficult to distinguish between them. Is your work on board be considered A, B, or C? Okay, all my work so far has been A, because in order for a book to be considered conserved, it has to be A-level work, which is the best work that you can possibly get away with. C-level work is usually amateur work. Now, when you get a conserved grade, so the conserved grade, so restored grades in CGC at least will give you a purple label, whereas on a conserved labeled book, it's a blue label with like a silver or gray line at the top.
Is the purple label, that's like if somebody color touched and stuff like that?
Yeah, that would be just considered a general restoration. Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas this is a conserved book where you have this like silver gray at the top of the blue label. And they don't put the grade on here because it's understood to be A-level work. The times that I've had a book come back restored. So recently I did a book for Mike at Chunko's Comics.
Okay.
And it came back restored, not because of the work I did, but because of the work I didn't do because I didn't know about it. So it was a situation where he had a Tomb of Terror book that there's a whole long story behind that. But long story short,
I think he talked about it on his episode of Only Slabs that he was on.
Yeah, he did. I think so. Yeah. But the my comic shop where he got the book from neither revealed or probably didn't know that the book had been trimmed. The cover had been trimmed, and so when I got the book in hand, I didn't see that either. CGC, however, did notice that, and so the rest of the work I had done was A-level, but because of that trimming, it walked itself into a restored label.
Okay. Dave from Still Only 35 Cents says hello.
Oh, hey, hi there.
And then JSS dropped the link for Mr. Sanderson's
cool.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And
good.
then Kenny Bird, so hello. Welcome in,
Oh,
Kenny.
hi there, Kenny.
And then Another question, do grading companies sometimes or often misidentify restoration or conservation work?
It happens more often. It happens often, I would say.
Okay.
Uh, not not to me so far. I mean, it's as far as no. I mean, all the books that I've gotten back or other people have gotten back on in my on my behalf, because I don't really send off that many books, to be honest. It's a lot of the books that I get graded are through other people whose work I've done for them. But I do have a friend. I have a couple of friends who have gotten books back with a restored label, and oftentimes it's simply a phone call to CGC. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but they'll let them know, like, hey, I did X, Y, and Z. This shouldn't have come back or restored. Can you take another look at it? And so they'll be like, oh yeah, we totally didn't see that. Send the book back. And more times than not, that's been corrected, and it'll come back as a conserved label.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then got these are some restoration truth or myth questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is all Cliff still.
Yeah, this is all. He gave me a good 7 or 8 or
he mentioned this
questions.
morning. I was on Bleeker's channel, and he mentioned this morning. He's like, "I got some questions for you." I was like, "Oh, okay."
They haven't been too hard so far.
No, yeah, so really good.
Is pressing restoration?
No.
Okay.
I think there was a time when I think CGC did consider any sort of manipulation to the book as a form of restoration. So I think when they first came out, there were some books that got a purple label simply for being pressed. But no, at this point, I don't even really consider it conservation. I just consider it standard practice. Well, good maintenance to your books. People have been doing this for ages. You didn't need a press back in the olden days. You just took a set of encyclopedias and a flat board, and you just put them on top of your comic books to straighten them out.
A lot of comic book collectors now don't have encyclopedias.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. I guess they'll lay their iPads on top of it or something.
Yeah. Well, you could take stacks of long boxes. I'm sure.
There you go. Yeah.
Should tape repairs ever be removed?
No, I wouldn't do that. I as an amateur, no, don't mess with tape. There's some scenarios where that's more doable than not. So, for instance, stickers. Oftentimes, people have stickers on their books, and that's a real, bane, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You can use Gooby Gone and things like that. And there are Dr. Paul has a video on that on Liberty Hill Comics where he discusses removing like kind of stickers and whatnot. But tape is it's the curse of the conservator. There are methods that we do use, though. I use something called don't knock. Okay, I won't. I use oh no, this is not it. I use something called it's over here. Something called Bestine, which is kind of a, I don't really know how to explain what it is, but it's a liquid that you just pour onto the book, and basically what it does is it breaks down the adhesive underneath the carrier.
Okay.
And then you take like a knife of some sort and just kind of carry it along the tape and kind of pry it all apart. But even when you're done doing that, oftentimes the adhesive will remain behind on the book, on the comic book itself. So then it's a whole process of scraping that off as well. It's a real pain in the butt, but I kind of like the challenge,
Right.
And as long as it doesn't get too crazy. Unfortunately, you lose a lot of graphics with it. Oftentimes, it's very trying and it takes forever to do. It takes a lot of patience, and there's a lot of cursing and gnashing. So
I know I don't know if you know who Philobox Comics is.
No.
Okay. He's a friend of Lunch Money Comics.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They're both in the same area and all that. But okay. He did a video. I guess he had heard the myth where you could freeze off stickers.
Yeah, that doesn't work too well.
Right. Well, no, he did a video about that. So.
Okay. But, yeah, I know Jerry the Jitterbug, he actually tried that as well relatively recently. And it sounds like it should work, but
yeah.
No.
Yeah, it didn't work for him either.
Yeah.
Next, truth or myth question is, do slabs preserve comics forever?
No, they don't. And I actually mentioned this on Bleeker's channel this morning. So most books before the 90s were made with paper that had they had a lot of acids in them.
Right.
That was part of the process of making paper pulp, and nowadays comics are made with acid-free paper, but and so those acids are still churning away on the book. And with universal books or with a number of books that are sitting in their slabs, they're essentially breaking down within those slabs. And you can actually have tape also on a universal book, and the adhesive on the tape can also start chewing through the book as well. So no, your books are not necessarily protected in their slabs. And this is kind of interesting about that is that in some sense, this book, for instance, this conserved book, it's a low grade 2.5 conserved, but there's an opportunity or there's a chance for this book to actually outlast a number of books from the same era that are universal, because I deacidified all the wraps.
Okay.
And then I put it should have stopped the acidification process in its footsteps, or at least considerably slowed it down.
Yeah, I know a little bit about acid and paper because my dad, when I was younger, owned a frame shop,
Oh, okay.
and so it was always about the cotton mats. You had to have cotton mats, especially
Yeah.
if you had a good print or something like that that it was
Mhm.
framing up, because the cotton mat would not burn, or the acid there with the paper.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you ever notice when you have a book that's been in your bag and board for a really long time and you take it out and then there's a brown frame
Yeah.
around, that's the acid
Yeah,
burning into
exactly.
the backing or the backboard of it.
Yeah, and I think also that's probably that smell that we all love when we open up an old comic book. I think that's probably the acids burning away at the book as well too.
Yeah.
So
And Cliff's last question is, should every key comic be restored?
no. Well, I'm not a big. I think when he says restored, he means perhaps conserved/restored. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think that's absolutely necessary. Although I do think it would. I think a lot of people, a lot of conservators are kind of pushing for the idea of deacidification of books to be considered universal work. Because currently, right now, it'll land you a conserved grade if they see it, if they can. It's not always easy for them to see whether or not you've actually deacidified the wraps, but we're trying to push for them to allow that to be universal. But no, I don't think it's necessary for every book to be conserved or restored. No.
All right. And then we got Raphael, the turtle collector.
Yeah.
I wonder if an oxygen-free environment would slow or stop the breakdown of paper.
I don't know. I do know someone who might know. Professor Peter Alachi. He's got a channel called it's Experiments in Conservation, and he does a lot of lab-based work to see.
Okay.
And then also Immaculate Comics. Rick over at Immaculate Comics. He also does a lot of he knows paper on like a scientific level as well. So
Okay.
you might be the kind of people to know that kind of answer.
And JSS said the pronouncing the
Yeah.
acidification is key.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. And then JSS also had a good answer for Ralph, and that's take the books to Mars or the moon.
There you go.
And then he said they would pass that information on to Elon.
Yeah.
And Jeff said one advantage about being older is his book, he'll fall apart before his comic book does.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Well, those were the questions that I had for you about conservation
Okay.
and restoration.
Those are good questions.
Now I'm going to get into the part that we're all here for, and that's about
Okay.
how you YouTube,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start your comic book YouTube channel, and what was your very first video?
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of a hard question. I had to kind of think about this for a second, but I know what got me into this whole thing of conservation and wanting to put a video or put together a YouTube channel devoted to that, and that was was Baumgarten Restorations. Baumgarter Restorations. He is a fine artist who he's got a YouTube channel. It's pretty popular, very very big. And his whole thing is doing essentially conservation to fine art. You know, paintings from the 1700s to today. And I found that fascinating. I wanted to go to art school, and I never went that direction, as far as my career went. But I found that his YouTube channel amazing. I love the whole idea of revitalizing or bringing back to life, old objects.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if it's car restoration stuff or watch restoration, but painting restoration specifically really appealed to me. And then I want to say right after COVID or maybe during COVID, I found Jerry the Jitterbugs channel. And here was a guy who was kind of taking my two passions, comic books and art and all that, and then this restoration process or this conservation process. And it was amazing to me. I was like, wow, I can't believe people are healing comic books. I mean, like I didn't know that was a thing that could be done. And so and also he sent me down this rabbit trail where he had this sort of there you go, where he would Jerry, that is, would talk about how Golden Age comics, that he had a series about like buying Golden Age comics for the price of a tank of gas, and that got me thinking. Okay, so these books that I've been collecting since the late '80s, that Golden Age was always this kind of like god tier, like I would never have enough money for that kind of thing,
Right.
and so through his channel, I realized that people could heal comics, but also they could buy, these Golden Age comics as well, and that really floored me. And then so that's what inspired me. My first video is kind of a two-parter. So I had a YouTube channel already. In fact, I had when YouTube started, I kind of jumped on as soon as a few years after it actually started. I think I think I joined in 2003. That seems so. I can't remember if that's before or after when YouTube started, but it was around. It had been like early mid 2000s when I jumped onto YouTube, when I started my account. And then one of my earliest videos. A lot of these videos are now hidden or in private mode because they don't have. There's no relevance to the channel now. Actually, I should probably throw it back on there, but it's a quadcopter view of Free Comic Book Day from 2015.
Okay.
And so quadcopters were brand new at the time, and I thought like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to like do like a kind of a quadcopter thing hovering above a comic book shop, and then I had Flight of the Bumblebees, playing over it, which I think that's what I had playing over it, and yeah, so that was my first video, but then my channel evolved from there. I kind of got out of the comic stuff. Well, that was really the only comic book video. The rest of the content was either I would do binaural audio recordings. So basically, binaural audio is where you have a microphone that kind of catches audio in like a 360 degrees, and when you're wearing headphones, it sounds like you're at wherever the places, wherever you're at. You can actually hear things behind your head, in front of you. And so I had these binaural mics, and I would take them to concerts. so that people could feel like they're at the concert, you know. And then from there, I also this was like a hodgepodge channel, you know, where I just stored things.
Right.
I I finished the um, there's a book called 1001 Movies That You Must See Before You Die, and I finished that entire list. But there was a number of movies that were incredibly hard for me to find, and I wanted to share if I could find those movies, like usually in the public domain. If I could find those movies, I wanted to share those with people who could not find them. So sometimes I would upload films to my YouTube channel through that as well. And that's where I actually built my audience, because a couple of those videos hit in places like India or
Okay.
in wherever, and my channel numbers, subscribers exploded. And so then when I moved into comic book conservation, this whole thing around October of 2024, I had already had the channel subscribers built up. And that's when I kind of launched this whole new venture. That's a wrong way of doing YouTube, though, and I quickly learned that. And if I were to do it over again, I would have. But
Right, because most of those subscribers that had built up before probably have no interest in comic books.
absolutely, I
Yeah.
probably so I have, I think, around 1,500 subscribers right now, and I would say about. Thankfully, I'm now at a point where I'm gaining members quicker than I'm losing them, you know.
Right.
But there was a small period where I was dropping members. I was replacing them fairly quickly, I would say. But you know, I probably lost 600 members and then gained those 600 back, you know. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I I pay attention to like I listen to podcasts about YouTube and stuff like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but while I'm working because I have plenty of time to listen. And one thing they said or they say is like be like talk about be very niche
Yes,
with your channel
yes,
because and don't try to do too many things.
right. Yeah,
And they say you can pivot, but a pivot is very hard to accomplish.
yep,
So sometimes it's just better to start a new channel
yes.
with something new. So
Yeah, they even tell you not to tell your family and friends about it, because your family and friends are not going to be comic book collectors who care about your channel. And if your channel is all of a sudden being viewed by, you know, your mom who watches, you know, cat videos all day, they're going to think, okay, is this a cat video channel? You know, so
right.
that's not very helpful to you. So yeah, if I were to do this all over again, and I've actually thought about this, but restarting this channel at this point would be a pain in the butt. I'm not sure how a smooth way of doing that at this point. So I'm kind of
Uh,
stuck.
well, Raf said you should reopen the Hodgepodge channel and do a video on how to have the perfect beard while pulling off the Peaky Blinders cap.
I should actually. That's not a bad idea.
You could, I mean, you're going to give Rob a run for his money, maybe with the CBC awards on
Oh,
beards.
oh, right. I don't know.
Um,
I tried to join. I threw my name in the hat for my beard last year, and I didn't even come up at all. So there's a lot of people who have much nicer facial hair than I do, unfortunately.
yeah, we got Chonko is here. Hello, Chonko.
Hey, Mike.
And they're talking back and forth to each other. Um, yeah, you could, like, if you want to bring back those old videos, you could just start a new channel for that.
Yeah,
But keep your audience that you have now for your Archivist Adrift.
yeah, something like a drift adrift or a drift miscellaneous or something like that.
So far adrift.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Was there a, okay, all right, I guess a little caveat to this question is, was there a specific moment or video where you felt like your Archivist Adrift section of your
Hmm.
channel took off? If
Yeah.
that makes sense?
Well, yeah, it does. I ended up privating all those other videos, so and those videos are off to the wayside now. Um,
Yeah, because I was wondering, I was looking at your subscriber numbers
yeah.
and the number of videos and all that. I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
This doesn't add up.
like Man, he's getting some great subscriber counts and all that.
Yeah, then the video counts are like, 100 people viewed or whatever. Yeah.
It makes a little bit more sense
There you
now.
go. Yeah, well, I don't really feel I've made it. I feel like I'm still, trying to, I have the inertia now. I think probably when I was working on this book, actually. So this book, it was beat and battered. And if you saw the before pictures of it on my YouTube, it was just in a very sad state. And I was able to bring it to a state of, something you can actually flip through and, read and it's got a low grade, but man, I worked hard for this 2.5, I feel. And I think around the time that I did this video is when it's when I felt like things kind of took off as far as the numbers and people kind of seeing like, okay, this guy's onto something here, and I want to say that was probably last summerish.
Okay.
So yeah, not that long ago, honestly.
All right. And JSS had a question for you.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the handle Archivist Adrift?
Okay, well, name. I came up with the handle Jason. My mom named me that, but
she came up with it. You didn't come up
with it. Right. Archivist Adrift. Okay, so I've used the name Adrift for years. It was my first AOL handle, and I needed a name, and at the time I've been in and out of different music genres, mostly punk rock throughout the years, but in the late 90s or mid 90s, I guess, I went through a drum and bass phase. Okay. And there is a musician named Goldie, and on his big album, on Goldie's big album, he had a song called Adrift. And I remember looking at my desk like, I need a name. I flipped over a CD. I'm like, Adrift, that's great. I'm going to use that, Adrift. And that's just been the name that's kind of stuck with me, this whole entire time through different iterations or whatnot. And then when I started my YouTube channel in like 2003-ish, I was just called Adrift. I missed the chance to hold on to the YouTube full name with the Adrift at the end. Someone took that, even though my channel pre-existed before theirs. But then when I got into this whole conservation game, I went to a comic book shop and I was trying to find my YouTube channel to show them some of my early work. And so I'm looking up Adrift on YouTube, or he was on his phone. He couldn't find it. And then I looked on my phone, I couldn't find it. I'm like, what is going on? Well, there's just so many Adrifts out there, you can't find it. So I needed something that would kind of help me stand out. So, well, I'm doing some sort of archiving to these books. So Archivist Adrift was born. And whether you say archivist or archivist, no one really knows. And I'm okay with that. That's fine.
All right. So I guess this is how did you actually decide to get into, or you might have already covered this, but the conservation and archiving aspect of YouTube or comic books for YouTube? What made you decide to theme your channel now about archiving and conserving?
Yeah, it was really that 1-2 punch of Baumgarten Restoration and Jerry the Jitterbugs channel. But then there was a whole community that was sharing knowledge on Facebook, a conservation community put together by Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics, Dr. Paul Kosnick. And he along with a number of other YouTube channels like Flying L Comics, Sales Boy Comics, Experiments in Conservation, things like that. We were all trading knowledge back and forth. And I'm watching these videos, and what they're doing was seemed hard to me, but I felt like, I think I can do this. I think. And also, I'm at the age now. I was, I think, 49 when I started this sort of phase of the channel. And I got to the point where I was like, I want something that kind of maybe lives past me, maybe, or maybe documents something about my life that, I can share with others, in the future, or something to look back on at least,
Right.
And so I stopped being I'm the type of person who can be introverted or extroverted depending on, mood,
Yeah.
and
I understand.
yeah, and I decided I don't want to be scared of putting myself in front of the camera. I get nervous every time I get in front of a live, but I wanted to move past that headspace and be like, at this point, who cares, what do I got to lose?
Yeah. JSS
Yeah,
dropped
yeah,
Liberty Hill Comics
yeah, he's great.
YouTube.
He'll
Uh,
be on tonight actually at 8:35, a live show there too. So
okay. Um, so what made you, or have you had much experience with archiving or conserving before you started
no,
YouTube or in
no.
this phase?
Well, I did some practice runs, on my own before I, jumped right into YouTube. And I would share my results with people in the Facebook group. So I did a few books. I did do, yes, in that sense, yeah. I did an old Carl Barks like men's mag that he had. Carl Barks is the guy who did the Donald Duck. He was considered the good duck artist of Disney. Disney
Okay.
did not allow any of his artists to sign their names on, because the perception that Disney wanted people to have was that Walt Disney himself was drawing all of the artwork for their comics. But one of these comic book artists stood out. His name was Carl Barks, and comic collectors in the 60s sought this guy out. And anyways, some of his early work he had done as early as I think 1929 for like men's magazines. And so I found one of these old men's magazines on Uncle Scrooge. Thank you, Uncle Scrooge. And I found one of these old books for like $5 or whatever, and it was completely water damaged. It was
Okay.
obliterated. And I thought, there's no way I can make this worse, And so that was one of the first kind of books that I kind of brought back to a condition of readability and cleaned it up a little bit and made it presentable. So yeah, and I did a few other things like that, but also, because because I do like to draw, and because I was kind of moving into the art world anyways, I think that attention to detail helps when you're in this whole conservation game, because you really
Right.
have to pay attention to what you're doing. And so that did definitely helped, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what content or what on your videos that you've
Mhm.
made so far for Archivist Adrift, what content has worked the best for your channel so
Yeah.
far, and why do
Not
you
my
think that is?
conservation stuff, honestly. The stuff that works the best is numbered things. So um if I do like a
Like a top
12,
10?
yeah, like a top 10. I often will do like a kind of a weird numbering thing, because I don't want to do the standard top 10,
Right.
top 11, or 13 or whatever. Um, those do really well, and especially not necessarily like, oh, my favorite kind of thing, although those do well as well. But like I have a video on like 13 golden age books that you can find for cheap,
Right.
that kind of stuff, where it's a how-to kind of thing in a sense, or kind of a instructional sort of thing on top of the numbering thing. That really, piques people's interest. They're really, really interested in that. Those videos do great, and I like doing those videos, but I don't want to devote my channel to that. I
Right.
want to devote it to conservation. So I kind of edge away from the things that I know will probably do my channel better. Do it better. But
Yeah, I mean, the archiving or the conserving and restoration of the comic books is a very cool uh, topic to
yeah,
learn and to know about, but it's a very niche
yes,
topic. I mean, it's like it's a niche within a niche.
yes,
And
absolutely.
I mean, it's one of those things where the average comic book collector who has a book that needs to be conserved is like, well, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to give it to somebody that does, and then I'll just wait for the results.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with among people who've been in the YouTube game for a bit with these conservation channels, the videos of theirs that take off the most or are the biggest are those videos that are like how-tos,
Right.
like oh, how to take water stains out of a book, or how to. But I also didn't want to do that. I wanted my channel to be more of a exploration kind of like. I really appreciated those channels and those videos because they taught me so much. But I felt like everyone was the expert, and there weren't any people like me who didn't know what the heck I was doing, and that's really what I wanted the aim or focus of my channel to be. And perhaps I'm still kind of feeling out my channel, I think, so maybe it's a case of where my channel kind of goes into that more, where it's more about just my journey into this whole entire thing, more so than just the niche conservation thing. But yeah, so and I'm constantly kind of fighting against the algorithm with a lot of that. So yeah.
When granted, I need to watch more of your videos, but when you do your restoration videos, are you showing them like what it looked like from the beginning and taking us through the stages of it, and kind of like almost like in a vlog style, walking through the process of it?
Yeah, I initially was doing more of a playlist sort of style where I would do like this week, in Archivist Adrift, or today, and I was trying to pop out like 2 videos a week, and it was the comic in different stages, of development of okay, I've got this book, let's just analyze it. And now and because that's what other people were doing. Jerry was doing that, and a few other conservators were kind of doing the in this week's or in this episode, we're getting this far into the book. But I've found that people gravitated more towards the from beginning to end videos,
Right.
where I show the process. And that's what I do. I do show the process, but they wanted to see the finale at the end of the video more often than not, And so that's slowed my work down as far as getting videos out. And I know some people like the more nitty gritty, they want the longer videos. But I feel that people's attention starts kind of dropping off around the 15-minute mark, so I don't want to really hold them any longer than about 20 minutes. And so that's meant I've had to kind of pare my videos down quite a bit to get all that information in within that time frame.
Some people do use the playback speed, and will adjust the playback also. So even though it says 15 minutes, they might have actually watched the full 30, but did it in 2 times speed.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is a possibility.
I do a lot of time lapse in all of my videos, because I don't want to watch someone pulling off tape for 30 minutes. So I don't want to put my viewers through that either.
Right.
And there's something really satisfying about time lapse anyhow, just seeing kind of it blooming, in front of your eyes. And so that is fun to do. And I know this will probably lead into a different question, but that means that my editing time gets crazy,
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Just on another, I mean, this is more of the not necessarily YouTube, but the archiving and that. How long does it take you to actually conserve a moderately needed book?
Yeah, that really, it's a hard question. I've been asked that quite a bit, and it really depends. So I'm working on a book right now. Oh, I have it in the press. Where I had to remove some mold, and it was really tricky, and I was doing a lot of experimenting, things I had never done before, and that's taken me a good month. I got sick kind of halfway through there. I'm not sure if it was because of the mold or whatnot, but that took me about a month. But I would say on average, because I'm trying to get a video out a week, between a week to 2 weeks is how long it takes me to do a book. Also, a lot of that though is wait time. I'm waiting for things to dry. I'm waiting for things to, maybe get blue light treatment or whatnot. There's a lot of waiting in between. And I could be doing things like working on a second and third book. And if I was a professional, I probably would be doing that. I wouldn't like be sitting or yes, mold, exactly.
Hey, Cliff.
But I don't. I kind of like the feeling. Just I want to put all my attention on one book at a time. Every now and then I'll do two books at the same time, but generally speaking, I'm focusing on just the one and letting it play out that way. But yeah, the mold thing. Oh man, that was not a lot of people are working with books that are moldy for good reason because it's really really hard to remove. But I think I got a process now, and so I think I'm looking forward to like sharing that with the rest of the comic book community or in the conservation communities especially.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cliff, FYI, we've already gone through all of your questions, and that was probably about the first 30 minutes of the episode. So if later on you can catch the first 30 minutes in the replay, but we did go through all your questions.
They were great questions, really.
He answered all of them. None of them stumped him. He was prepared. The
Are we back?
All right, we'll see if anybody pops back. I don't know what that was weird.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll go there. Sorry, don't know what happened. We're back.
It's okay. What was the question? I'm sorry.
I was asking if you ever done a live stream of the.
Yeah. Speaking of, yeah, I did attempt a live stream one weekend, and I was using like YouTube's built-in tools, and I apparently like it got out to my subscribers that I was doing a live, but I wasn't capturing any video, and I was like, what is going on here? And so I ended the stream. But yeah, I would like to do that. I think I hope it wouldn't bore people to death, but I think it would be kind of fun to do, and maybe I'll need to do that in sort of like a private setup at first, just to see if I can get it off the ground and kind of teach myself how to do that. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. I should do that.
It could be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I do fill out a lot of the stuff where I'm not doing conservation, because it takes some time to do those videos. I'll do like unboxing videos or that kind of thing where I'm looking at the books that I got in, or the books that people wanted me to work on, that kind of thing. So I do unboxing videos in between some of my conservation work, or I'll do one or two special videos where I had a video on Frank Thorne, who because I bought some of his original art not too long ago, and so yeah, occasionally I'll do something other than conservation, or those top 13 lists,
Oh, yeah. Cliff said, "Set up the camera and he'll run the stream for you."
Okay, all right.
And I'm sure JSS probably wouldn't mind moderating if.
All right, okay, I'll have to do something like that. All right, thank you.
All right, so next question, and you mentioned algorithm earlier, and we can see the algorithm's interested because it dropped the channel for a minute there. But how do you balance what you love to talk about with what the algorithm wants?
I don't care. I do. That's not true. I do care what the algorithm says, but I fight the algorithm because even though I want people to watch my videos, I don't want to do what I don't want to do.
Right.
I don't. If I'm not interested in what I'm doing, then why am I putting out content? Just to put out content for a tiny YouTube channel, that will never probably make any money, or very little. So I have to be interested in what I'm doing. So it is a fight with it. If I wanted to go along with the algorithm, I would be doing those top 13 videos all along, and that's great for people who are doing that. Good for them, that's just not me. And so maybe I'm going to see if I can find a way to make the algorithm work for me, or maybe reinvent the algorithm. I don't know, but
Do
yeah.
you have you ever used any or made any short video, like use the YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, I
Or
have, and those were really received very well because I do like the time lapse between, where I'm doing just before and afters, and people do like those quite a bit. My concern is that people who like watching before and afters may not be comic book people who care about the conservation process, and so I may be kind of diverging my channel from away from my core audience, which I don't want to do because the algorithm doesn't like that. It's
right.
almost like a no-win situation. I've heard good things and bad things about making shorts. On the other hand, who doesn't like seeing a before and after? And so maybe that will attract the right people. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you could always, when you record, or just an idea,
Mhm.
if you have another, like, what do you record on? Right.
A Pixel mostly, a Pixel 9.
Okay, I was
Nothing.
gonna
No, I
say
don't have
if
any professional cameras or anything like that. No.
I was gonna say if there's a way that you could record a vertical and record a horizontal at the same time,
Yeah,
you could
I
make
would.
one cut for shorts and one for
Yeah,
the
I would
long
like to do
form.
that. In fact, I've been looking at high res cameras and whatnot to kind of set up a setup like that. Currently, my shorts. So usually when with my conservation videos, I'm showing the process of me putting the book together, and then at the very end, I do like a before and after, where it's just a frame that kind of cross dissolves into the next frame, which is the finished product. And so then I just usually chop that, minute, 2 minute little bit off, and then I make that into a short.
Okay.
And so it's a pretty easy process when I do make the shorts. And like I said, they are well received. I get, a couple thousand, views on those, so um, but I stopped doing it mostly because I wasn't sure if it was helping the channel or hurting it. And I think I might be going back to it though.
Okay. Jeff had a comment. If you give the comic book people what they want, wouldn't it be all unboxing and Hulk 181 slabs to make a music anthology? Nobody asked for the Ramones or the Sex Pistols, but they made their own niche.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, yeah, maybe I need to be the punk rock of the comic book niche here.
Be punk rock like Superman. Yeah.
Exa-
When you make your videos, for your hook on your videos, do you show the before and do you show the after at the beginning and then
No,
show the process?
yeah, I've been fighting with myself with that as well, especially on the thumbnails. Like, do I want to? I have actually created a couple of thumbnails where I show before and after, and as the hook to get people interested in the video to see if, And I thought that would do really well. Like, I thought because that does work with a lot of other restoration type channels. Like if you go to like car videos or watch videos, if you show a
Yeah.
before and after slide on the thumbnail, that does draw people in. It does act as a hook. Maybe I haven't done it enough, but I haven't really seen the numbers there where it's drawing people in. And I do
Well,
kind of like the mystery of people not knowing exactly. Um, for the videos themselves, though, I have been kind of doing more pre-commentary. This is what the book is about. This is what what you can expect to see. Stay tuned to the end for XYZ, and I think that is kind of the right direction for that.
on the thumbnail in the YouTube studio, you can do A/B testing where you can try out two different
True.
thumbnails at the same time to
Yeah,
see which one gets the best click-through rate. And
that's true, and
then
I have seen that. I just haven't used it, but I should try that. Yeah.
because once YouTube goes through a certain period of time and
Mhm.
sees gets enough clicks, they'll determine what's the best thumbnail for your video based
Okay.
upon what the audience is actually
Okay.
clicking on. So,
Okay. I'll have to try that then. All right.
and I was going to say on the for the video, like if you, this is just my thought, but if you're
Yeah.
showing the before and say like, how did I take this and make it into this? Well, watch this video and here we go.
Okay. All right. I think I'll
I
try
mean,
that then.
it's
Yeah.
something to try. I don't know, but I mean,
Hey, I mean, I'm always interested in trying new things. Every I would say, like, especially the last few videos I've been doing a lot of experimenting just to see what catches people's attention. So I'm definitely into trying new things for sure.
I mean, it might be. I mean, your conservation videos are definitely going to be more evergreen type
Mhm.
videos.
Yeah.
I mean, well, as long as the process and techniques don't change as much, because I'm sure
Right.
over time they will change,
Yeah.
but it probably doesn't change quite as much as
No.
technology changes. But
No, and that's one of the, and I'm sure this is probably one of the questions as well, but that's one of the good things about doing the kind of channel that I'm doing is that I'm never out of ideas. You know, if
right,
there's always another book that needs conserved, there's always another book that there's always another issue. You know, like this mold issue is something I've never tackled before. So
right,
that's yeah, I don't lack for content for certain, and that even applies to I'm constantly coming up with new ideas for the channel outside of just the conservation stuff too. So whether that's spinning off and doing more documentary kind of stuff or what, but yeah.
all right. Um, so, or I guess with the do you put, I guess, to go along with the algorithm
Mhm.
question, do you come up with your thumbnail and your title before you make the video, or is it after you make the video?
After I make the video,
Okay.
I do use AI to help out with that, with the description and with the title.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, AI is garbage, and I hate what it often wants you to lie to your audience. I am a little cheeky about some of my titles and thumbnails. My last title, thumbnail title was "I cheated," but I try to explain why or how I cheated in the description. But
Right.
oftentimes they will suggest a title that is completely out there and just a blatant lie, and I can't. And I hate that when I watch a video and it's like, you'll never believe what so and so did, and I watch it and I'm like, so and so didn't do nothing. What are you talking about?
Right.
I hate that. I feel kind of like a little bit like I was robbed, and you took some of my time away, and unsubscribe. So I don't want to do that to my viewers. But I do want the hook. I do want people to have a reason to click on the video, and so I will get ideas for. I like clickbait as long as it's truthful clickbait, if such a
Right.
thing exists.
I mean,
It
yeah,
has to be
clickbait
relevant.
is all about the and on the analytics side, the CTR or click through rate. I mean, it's like fishing. You gotta have some bait to set the hook.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and
So,
also it's got to be relevant, or otherwise people are just going to stop watching your content.
right.
But yeah, I don't mind a clickbaity title for sure, but it has to be real and or somewhat relevant to what I'm putting out. Um, but as like I said, AI does what it does do is it helps me think about what I want to put in the title. So I'll often give ChatGPT or something like that a couple of ideas that I have, flesh this out. What do you think? And I'll let it kind of knock back 10 ideas, and then I'll often find maybe just one word that AI thought of that I didn't think of, that I'll be like, oh, you know what, that's not a bad idea. I'll incorporate that into my title. um I set the bait and tried to make sure it was worth it. Yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
exactly. But I also fight with title length. I don't know. I think there's some sort of search engine optimization that goes into uh, title length
You
sometimes.
only
Where
you only get 100 characters.
true, but I feel like I don't want to go too. I feel like I know if I see a really long title that kind of goes off the screen a little bit, it kind of loses my interest, and so I
Right.
want to keep titles a little short. But it seems to be SEO optimized, search engine optimized. You they often kind of almost recommend longer titles, and I don't know what that's all about.
I think it's more of the like long.
Keywords.
It was that, but it's called long tail, meaning like a full sentence.
Okay.
So if somebody's typing in something, it covers more of the words that they might be
Okay.
searching for.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned over the last couple of months is if you have a if you have a specific word in your thumbnail
Mhm.
or phrase in your thumbnail, don't
Mhm.
put that same phrase in your title,
Mm.
because if you by putting the same in the title,
Mhm.
you're losing additional words that you could use because you already
That makes sense.
have those words in the thumbnail.
Yeah, that
So
makes
if you're
sense.
just repeating them up there, you're wasting space.
Yeah, and I do a pretty good job with that. With thumbnails, I want to keep. So what I with thumbnails, especially the last probably 6 videos I've done, I've really looked at how other comic book YouTubers, like the big ones, how they kind of optimize their thumbnails, um, and I noticed a few things. They often keep their thumbnails. They'll put some words inside the thumbnail, and they'll usually only be about 2 to 3 words long,
Hmm.
no, a max of about 4 words long,
Right.
just to kind of strike people's eyes and be like, okay, I want to click on this. Of course, it's got to be a little clickbaity. And then I'm trying to make my fonts stand out a lot more. So I'm using like bangers or some sort of like um, some sort of font like that that kind of really pops to the eye and grabs your attention. Of course, the goofy faces help. The videos that really took off the most for me are I have this Viking helmet that my nieces got me well, a while ago, and every time I wear that, my video click through rate goes crazy. So I use paint.net, believe it or not. I'm
Okay.
old school. I don't try to do anything fancy. And I just kind of, yeah, I know there are better programs to use than paint.net, but I'm just old school.
Yeah, I use a combination of like snap a photo with my phone, then I'll cut it out, then I'll
Yeah.
take it over, and I use a website called Photo Room, which will
Okay.
remove the background
Oh, perfect.
from what I want, and then I'll take that and put it into Google AI Studio, where I can use the free version of Nano Banana. Well, I have a process. I take my video,
Hmm.
I get the transcript
Okay.
from it through the editor that I use, take that into Chat GPT or Google Gemini and
Hmm.
say, based on this transcript, give me a thumbnail, some thumbnail ideas.
Oh, cool.
And I take the photos I need to, and then I say, well, okay, now write me a prompt for Nano Banana to make this thumbnail. And then I take it to the free version in AI Studio
Hmm.
and paste it in, put in my parts of the photo, and see what it makes for me.
That's
And
great.
I choose the 16:9 format and all
Yeah.
that. So because
Yeah.
if you don't do that, it'll just give you a square.
Right. Exactly.
But with the Nano Banana prompt, you can actually put in the aspect ratio that you
Okay.
need, and it locks that in. So it's
I
a
will definitely have to experiment with that because I'm always trying to find easier methods, obviously.
right.
Currently, my process for thumbnails is I rack my brains for what would appeal for this thumbnail, and I'll end up taking about 3 or 4, pictures of myself, and then I will throw it into. I'm with my Pixel. Then there's the Google editor within the Pixel where I crop it to 16:9, and then I take it into Paint.net, and that's when I usually apply the graphics. Kind of, like I said, sort of old schooly, I suppose. And then as far as getting the description, I will also take the I'll use ChatGPT. So I'll upload my video to YouTube, and then I'll often, not always, but often keep it private for 12 to 24 hours, and
Right.
then the transcript, of course, is populated on YouTube itself on the video. I'll download the transcript, or I'll take the transcript and I'll take it to ChatGPT and ask it to give me advice on a nice description. Oftentimes it sounds too AIE, it sounds too robotic and goofy, and so I'll do some major editing on my own and kind of put it in my own voice, and then I'll pop it into the description field. But that's but I'm always looking for processes and that are easier. I use mostly DaVinci,
Okay.
the free version, for editing my video, and I really like a lot of what it does. But lately, I've also been using iMovie through my MacBook. So,
Okay.
and that has a lot of there are great things about both, and I wish I could have. I know there is a way. I just haven't figured it out yet. But taking the best parts of each and kind of combining them into like a super editor. So, for instance, with iMovie, what I really love is like the panning that it does to pictures, like
Right.
still images, giving that kind of documentarian feel to everything. I'm sure DaVinci has something like that, but I haven't figured out where it's at yet.
Yeah, DaVinci is very big and complicated.
It is. It's like, and they're constantly hounding you to buy the real thing, you know. And it's like, no, I'm not paying all this money to.
Right. They put enough bells and whistles in the free version
Right.
that
Yeah.
you don't need the paid version.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I know that Microsoft Clipchamp, they have an editor, and also CapCut. They let you do editing, like text-based editing.
Oh, okay.
Like, because you can actually, once you load the video in, you can say transcribe it, and then you can go in and cut out like words or tangents that
Okay.
you didn't, that you think, well, okay, I don't need this. So you can just go highlight everything that you said that you want to get rid of and hit delete, and it cuts it.
I love that. I actually started. I need to look into that, but I actually started fooling around with Descript. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, Descript.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. So, and I mess with that to, you know, when I talk naturally, I have a lot of ums and uhs and things like that, and so I I threw it into Descript to kind of make me, you know, take all those ums and uhs out, you know,
Right.
and then I have to figure out something because it made me sound like a robot, you know, like I it was very artificial sounding and it didn't sound like my normal timbre at all. So
A lot, a
I
lot
put
of
up, you
jump,
know,
a lot of jump cuts
yeah,
in
yeah,
it.
like right.
um, so, all right. I mean, we'll just stay on this topic for a second. So you already talked about DaVinci as your editor.
Yeah.
Any other tools? We're going to skip down to question a little bit later on, but any other tools or gear that you use to make your
Um,
videos?
well, I have like well, as far as gears go, I have, you know, my lighting that I've got set up. I have a couple of lights on each side. But actually, I use them more. I mean, I I got the lighting for the videos, but it's been invaluable in my conservation work. You know, previously I was just using, you know, my dining room lighting, and it was, you know, squinting at everything as I'm working on it. So that's been great. As far as video editing, specifically, you know, I told you I wanted to get into get a better camera setup. I often use what brand is this? Hollyland for my mic setup, which is
Okay.
just these, you know, and these sound really great, in my opinion. And then I have like I think it's called like a C-Link, like regular, you know, standalone mic that I sometimes use. And then for video editing, it's like I said, it's Paint.net, DaVinci. There is a couple of smaller programs that I use on my phone, but nothing like basically to do some of the processes that it sounds like you're doing anyways, where you're doing like the cutout kind of stuff, you know. So there's like an actual cutout program I use sometimes. But I know that there are easier ways to do a lot of this stuff. I'm just kind of like clunking it all together and trying to put something out, you know.
Oh yeah.
But
Editing on a budget.
that's right, exactly. And like I said, I am using like I am experimenting with things like Descript and other AI software to, you know, as a tool to help with the video editing. But it's kind of the whole fun of doing this channel has been this process of editing videos. You know, it's been fun to not only you know, actually conserve the books, but just learn. This whole process has been really fascinating.
By any chance, have you had any, or this is not a question that's on this list, but just curious, are there any sponsors or anybody that's ever wanted to sponsor your channel archive
No,
wise, or is there
no,
any products to go reach out to and
no. I
do
know that
affiliate
other.
links?
Not yet. No. I'm not against that. If someone wants to, call me up or talk to me, whatnot. I have had. I know that other conservators do occasionally get some sponsorship. They also do. They often do like Amazon links as well.
Okay.
And but no, nothing for me as of yet. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. And this was also just a little segue so I can promote my channel sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet. And if you use code I have issues at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first purchase with Ron. So go check him out when you get a chance.
Good
All right.
deal.
Just wanted to throw that in there for a second. Had to figure out some time to do it.
Yeah. I get you.
What mistake did you make early on that you wish that someone had warned you about?
Yeah, that was definitely the going from a movie type channel to a conservation channel. Hey Kate. Yeah, if I had known better, I definitely would have started a whole new channel altogether. Other early mistakes was telling friends and family about, hey, I got a YouTube channel. Why don't you guys jump on and check it out? And that probably definitely didn't help. You just want to keep it quiet, let the algorithm find your audience for you, and go from there. So I feel that I would have really grown my channel much quicker had I just left those two things alone and just kind of let the algorithm figure it out for me. And also probably not obsessing with like tag words or whatever, where those I don't think those really help that much anymore. And yeah, I wouldn't really worry about that much.
An idea that just popped into my head for your channel or
Yeah.
for your you said you do some conservation for other YouTubers, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Something that might be interesting, and you make videos about those books, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We'll often do kind of like a networking thing where, they'll show the work that I did on their channel. And that kind of helps plug each other in a sense.
Well, now, have you seen YouTube's new feature that they've released in the last couple of months, the collaboration?
I heard you talking about that in your video, I think with Alan,
Yes.
and that's fascinating. No, I don't know anything about that. So
You literally just go into your details or editing or where you would put in the edits and stuff, and you go to the show more down where you put in the tags, and it says invite collaborator.
Okay.
So say that book that you did for Chonko,
Yeah,
and all that, when you made that or video for him or about the book,
yeah.
and you were going to release it, you could have invited Chonko
Okay.
to that as a collaborator.
Okay.
And then as it released, it would show up on his channel and it would show up on your channel.
Okay.
And so his subscribers could see you and decide if they want to or not to subscribe to you, and vice versa.
Okay.
But then because it's your video, you would still get all the watch hours even from his audience.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. That's great. Okay, I'm gonna definitely plug that in next time I do that. So
yeah. So next time you do a restoration for somebody that has a YouTube channel and you're going to release the video, do the collaboration.
I wonder if it's backwards compatible. I wonder if I can go back.
You can.
Okay.
I just don't know. I mean, you can definitely. It would show up on their end.
Okay.
And you might get some additional watch, but it would definitely help when you released it.
Right.
Because it's all about that
fresh feel, fresh eyes.
The first little bit. So if you can get twice as many people to see it that first little bit, then YouTube's going to say this is good, and it's going to push it out even further.
Yeah. Okay. Further. All right. I definitely will be doing that. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I've learned a little bit over the last couple of
I
months.
bet. I'm sure you have.
So what is your process planning and producing a video from idea to upload?
Okay, so idea is easy. I grab a book off my shelf and I start working on it. And I have so many books to work on, and then also for friends of the channel, that kind of thing. I'm not allowed to collaborate. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But anyhow, so the idea part is the easy part. From there, I will, essentially set up the camera. I don't do like a kind of like intro or anything like that before I start working on my videos. I'm essentially just right from the start, placing the camera, down on top of my table and,
Right.
hey guys, this is the book that we're working on, this week. And then it's just the process of anytime I'm working on the book, I pull the camera out or I pull the phone out, record. At the end of the process, I throw it. I actually have a little home server where everything's uploading to anyhow. And then I just kind of download all that content. Because I was using Google's little free hosting thing for a bit, and that was costing me a lot of money. So I just kind of set up my own little home little thing. So I pull all the video content down onto my machine, do all the editing in DaVinci or iMovie, and then I will post. That's often when I will, as I'm waiting for YouTube to upload the video. That's typically at that point is when I'm actually working on the thumbnail and on the description. By the time it uploads all that content, I'll have all that together, and then I will often cross promote it on the video on like Facebook and Instagram and wherever else. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is something I wish that YouTube would work a little bit more on, but how do you engage with your community, and has it changed as you've grown?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, because we're in this community, it's all about networking anyhow. And that's, I guess that was kind of a surprise to me at how fun it was learning or meeting all these people like yourself, like getting invited to like these kind of shows. I've actually I met a lot of people and made a lot of friends, like really close friends, and that constantly blows me away is how friendly everyone is, the generosity of the community. And so getting to know people, of course, is definitely going to change the dynamics of your channel as well. Because, a random, saying a random person on another live channel, like this could get people to notice your work or the work of others, there's oftentimes where I've also have mentioned people that maybe other people didn't know about, and all of a sudden their channel started getting attention, so the whole networking process has been, really vital to the growth of my channel and the growth of other people's channels that I interact with. So we're all helping each other out here.
Right. Yeah, it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I hadn't heard of you before seeing Chonko on Only Slabs and talking about stuff. So that's where your name came up. And I was like, oh, okay, go check this out.
Yeah, yeah. And Brian LCS's comic book awards, that really helps a lot as well. When people get nominated for that, or even not even nominated, but the pre-nomination kind of thing,
Right.
I got a lot of channels just through that, which I thought was pretty cool. So he's helping everyone in the community single-handedly.
Yeah. And probably Instagram is another great way that YouTubers communicate with each other. And if you haven't noticed already, please check out Jason's YouTube or Instagram. It's instagram.com/Archivist Adrift.
Appreciate that. That was really interesting. I guess I wasn't forward thinking enough to think that, okay, I need a cross platform to promote one with the other kind of thing. Instagram was just my dumping ground for, hey, I got a new comic book, you want to check this out? And it kind of sprung into by the way, I have a video coming out, and that has helped. So I know I have experimented with a few videos where I have not promoted those videos on Instagram, and I have seen that viewership is really low on those videos, and I wasn't really feeling like I wanted to promote those videos anyhow. They were videos where I felt like I kind of didn't where I kind of failed at what I was trying to do, and so I wasn't like real anxious to show people my failures. So I wasn't trying to promote those as it was, but it definitely did see a difference. Thank you, John.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
there you go. All right, and last question I got for you is, what advice would you give to someone starting a comic book YouTube channel today?
Oh yeah, that's great. Originality. That's hard. You know, there's a lot of channels. When I was watching Alan's video, he was talking about how there's like certain buckets that people are in the kind of comic book realm, and to really stand out, you're going to have to be creative. You know, so I would definitely find your path, find what you like to do, because if you're not going to like what you're going to do, you're not going to do it very long.
Right.
And be creative, be different, stand out from everybody else. Don't do what everyone else is doing, and don't start with a channel that you've already had 1,000 subscribers to. You know, start fresh, completely new. And if you don't like what you're doing, you know, maybe you are along a route and it's not working out, and you didn't have the subscribers to begin with. I say go ahead and delete that channel and come up with a different idea. You know, maybe your whole idea is some sort of creative take on unboxings or something like that. You know, and maybe that doesn't work out, and so just scrap that channel completely and start with something else. I think if you have a lower viewer count, it's easy to let go of those kind of channels and try something new.
Right.
So yeah, that's my advice.
Okay. So what do you have coming up on the Archivist Adrift channel?
Yeah, okay, so I have that moldy book that I cleaned up, and I'm really happy with the results. It's not pretty, but it was some really fun experimentation, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that. I'll have that video drop sometime this week. I have an unboxing, a series of unboxings that I'm going to combine into one unboxing video that I'll have also out this week sometime. And then on March 21st, which is next Saturday, I'll be on a panel on Mike of Chunko Comics and Rich of Big Nasty's Comics, their live show.
Okay.
Thank you. And where we'll be doing, I'll be in a panel. I'll be joining a panel discussion with Paul Kosnick of Liberty Hill Comics, Phil of Phantom Restoration, professional comic book conservator. Alan, the comic book collector geek, he will be on there as well, and we'll be discussing not necessarily the process of restoration and conservation, but whether or not basically kind of a re-examination of conservation and restoration within the comic collecting world. Should you be afraid of restoration? And maybe we've kind of overthought this a little bit, and that's kind of what the panel discussion will be about. So really looking forward to that. That'll be Saturday night, I think at around 8 p.m. So thank you guys. Really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, he should.
On that show you're talking about, you're going to be on, or the panel next, you said Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, March 21st.
Okay. Here's an idea that you might want to ask the host if y'all could do.
Yeah.
Is like after that panel or after the video has processed. I don't know if you've done you've done a live stream before on your channel?
Not on my channel, no.
Okay. Well, just so you know that, like, once we're done here, it's still going to take YouTube about 18 to 24 hours to fully process this video.
Okay.
For replay purposes. Like, I can't go and add an end stream or anything like that, or end screen or any clicks or anything like that, or you know, cards. I can't add any of that until it's done processing, which it takes about 18 to 24 hours. But after that is done, I can send you a collaboration link. So for this interview, And then any of my subscribers that don't already subscribe to you could subscribe to you if they watch this and want to see it.
Okay.
But since next Saturday you're doing an interview show with a whole bunch of people about conserving and archiving, and your audience is probably going to be a lot of people that are into that stuff.
Yeah.
Your target audience right there are going to be people watching. So if your host could, after the show is done in process, send a collaboration link to all y'all, because you can send up to 6 people for one video. You can have 6 collaboration links for one video. So if they do that, then you could be, or your channel could be shown to all the subscribers of all 5 other different panelists.
Okay.
So that would be a great way to get the Archivist Adrift more exposure than just the particular live stream.
All right, that's a great idea. I will definitely talk to Rich about that. See what he thinks.
You won't get the watch hours, but you get the potential subscribers who would be interested in what you have to say in the future.
That'd be great. Yeah, that's a great idea. I will definitely talk to Rich about that, see what he wants to do. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And anybody that does live streams or on any other panels, and this is for the audience to look at, that is something that y'all should look into also.
Yeah. Might as well attract more people while you can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. And I got to make a video about some Ollie's comic packs that I've picked up. Gonna pick which one's the best cover. I mean, they're not worth a lot of money, but they got some nice covers in there. So I'll be making a video about that. And next Sunday, it's going to be a pre-recorded interview, but I am interviewing Derek, or Uncanny Derek is going to be my guest for Comic Channel Origins for his show, or his channel. So that'll be coming out next Sunday.
He's great. He's really, really on the ball as far as the market and all that kind of stuff. Great guy.
So I think we're going to be recording that tomorrow afternoon, but it will be premiering next Sunday during this regular time. And I know myself, maybe Derek will definitely be here in the chat, so we can chat with everybody there. So please check that out. And let me make this big again, or bigger. Jason, I want to say thank you for being here and taking part of this Comic Channel Origins. I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you so much, Brian. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully I didn't stumble through my answers too badly, and the information you needed.
No, you did great. I think it was a great interview. I had a lot of fun. And we're going to sign off, but please stick around for just a moment backstage, because I want to show you one other book.
Yeah.
I think Madam just popped in to say, Madam Blaster. Yep, there she is. Hello.
She's so cool.
And JSS saying thank you. All right, and we'll see y'all on the next one. And remember, I hope all of your issues are comics. All right, have a good one. Bye.
Good night.